Coming up on this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Forage is the foundation of any successful cattle operation. We'll tell you how Corteva Agriscience can help you improve the condition of your pastures and make the most of your grazing season.
And now, NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kevin Auctioner. No matter where you raise cattle, good forage is essential to the success of your operation. And our friends at Corteva Agriscience continue to commit time and resources to helping cattle producers better manage that forage. Now, farmers and ranchers are constantly seeking ways to enhance profitability and productivity to ensure the long-term sustainability of their operations. Here's a look at a Florida operation that is growing better grass thanks to a time-saving product from Corteva.
On the Tombstone Cattle Company in North Florida, they can graze their stocker cattle nearly year-round. That means taking care of the grass is a critical part of their profit picture.
Year in, year out, every day we have to manage the pastures properly to make a profit. If we're not doing that, we're not making a profit.
One way the team at Tombstone gets the most productivity from their pastures is with a combined application of both fertilizer and herbicide. It's a service offering from Corteva called UltiGraze Pasture Weed and Feed.
The beauty of UltiGraze is it gives us the flexibility to do a custom fertilizer blend for every single pasture and still get that herbicide application. So whatever your needs are fertility-wise, you get that blend that you need from the fertilizer and still get the herbicide application in one.
We first learned about UltiGraze with our hay fields, and we use that product in our hay fields to keep them cleaned up and especially the broadleaf. When we started the cattle operation, we had a terrible problem with weeds, pigweed and stuff like that, and so we started using it then to clean those up.
UltiGraze saves time and money because it's a one-pass option. Traditionally, people would spread fertilizer and then come back whenever they have a weed problem and spray Grazing or spray Duracor. This gives them the option of doing a one-pass deal. They can put the fertilizer on out at one time. They're killing the weeds before they have a problem.
Mayo Ag Products has been offering UltiGraze to customers in North Florida and South Georgia since 2019. Blending the fertilizer with the herbicide takes place in a tender dedicated to range and pasture use right alongside the field, where the dry fertilizer will be applied.
UltiGraze has absolutely changed the game as far as weed control and pasture management and fertility goes. Not only is it convenient, not only does it save the producer money, but it also opens up pastures that we could have never treated before, whether just due to the condition of the pasture, that it's extremely rough, or the proximity to other crops. Suddenly we're able to have this new offering that it's convenient, it's money saving, and it's opening up a whole new world of pastures that we weren't able to improve before.
Before UltiGraze, we would do different things, such as we were mowing the property on a regular basis. We were coming in and trying to spray on pastures that had bull holes and uneven, and it's really difficult to spray. Now with UltiGraze, we can get a fertilizer put out in an even manner and a herbicide put out in an easy manner, as opposed to trying to spray on a rough field.
The nice thing about UltiGraze is it really opens up our window on the parameters that make it a perfect day to get a herbicide out. Perhaps on a day like today, we wouldn't have really wanted to come in and spray because it's so windy. However, when we're making the fertilizer application with the herbicide, it doesn't affect it. We can still get in here, make the most out of a sunny day today to get a herbicide down, and we're not shut down like we would be perhaps with a spray rig.
Applying fertilizer alone does help grow more pounds of grass, but also grows more pounds of weeds. UltiGraze provides the one-pass, better grass option for both fertilizer and weed control that lasts.
The mindset of most producers is, I want to fertilize and kill weeds later. Well, as spring comes along and as it's warming up, the weeds are already there. So where if you put out UltiGraze, you're getting ahead of the weeds and putting the fertilizer out at the right time.
So a giant part of Ultigraze is the residual chemistry that Corteva brings to the table. And when we think about coming out in the early spring, when it's the ideal time to fertilize, we may not be seeing a lot of those weeds yet, but they're there, they're small, and they'll continue to germinate through the summer. So when we can come in and get those, not only are we killing the weeds that are already there, but we're also laying down a residual that's going to buy us control throughout the summer months because that chemistry is already laid down and doing what it's supposed to do, which is keep new weeds from germinating.
Ultigraze pasture weed and feed is available through a network of certified applicators in multiple states. And the experience of producers, such as Carl Allison, demonstrates that Ultigraze is a convenient way to grow more grass for their cattle.
I just don't see how you can maintain pastures without Ultigraze. You can't keep the weeds out in a more efficient way than using Ultigraze.
Whatever your goals are, good fertility and good weed management are going to push you closer to the finish line. So whether you're fertilizing a hayfield and need to control the weeds to put up more bales, or whether you need to get rid of those weeds so you can get another calf on that acre, Ultigraze is going to help you get to that goal.
To learn more about the benefits of combining weed control and fertilizer, and find your local certified Ultigraze retailer, visit the website ultigraze.com/C2C. From Lake City, Florida, I'm Brad Buller reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
To learn more about the benefits of using a product in your pastures that combines a herbicide with a fertilizer, just visit the website ultigraze.com/C2C. Still ahead on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll show you some exciting technology from Corteva that can help you better manage your land and fight back against invasive brush. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
National Cattlemen's Beef Association would like to thank our gold partners. Their support allows us to continue being the trusted leader and definitive voice of the U.S. cattle and beef industry.
There's never a dull moment for the Nelsons. Fifth-generation Montana ranchers. Since 1868, they've been herding cattle, reeling in trout, and exploring Paradise Valley from their backyard. Here's to another 150 years of adventure. There's a story in every piece of land. Run with us on a John Deere Gator XUV and start telling yours.
Work livestock safer and more efficiently with Turret Gate from Molly Manufacturing. The innovative Turret Gate technology gives you remote control power, shuttling the gate through the turret, allowing for continuous forward flow without having to push a gate back into oncoming cattle, all with a touch of a button. It's the industry standard in low-stress livestock handling. Built to last, Turret Gate from Molly is better by design. Find out more at mollymfg.com.
Regardless what part of the country they live in, cow-calf producers depend on adequate grass and forage for their cattle. However, invasive species can be a major threat to the profitability of any cattle operation. Here's a look at how Corteva Agriscience is helping producers fight back in order to increase forage production.
From mesquite trees and cactus in the Southwest to cedar trees, locust, and hedge in the Great Plains, invasive woody plants and brush take up moisture and sunlight, crowding out grass and making them the enemies of good cattle grazing.
A recent study conducted by a number of land-grant college or universities and other researchers have shown that the encroachment of woody plant species in the western United States has accounted for a forage loss between 1990 and 2019 to account for about $5 billion worth of forage loss. That forage loss accounts for roughly around 332 million tons of forage. So it's extremely important to control woody plant species. Oftentimes what happens is an individual sees the brush and thinks that it's a problem that's fixing to happen, and oftentimes it's left untreated. That particular situation where it's left untreated develops into a problem that's much more significant, harder to control, and much more impactful when it comes to forage production. Corteva is extremely fortunate to have one of the most diverse portfolios in terms of products that you can address brush. We've got products that give you the flexibility to tailor and address specific needs, but we also have products that give you the flexibility to treat at different windows. So an example of that would be Remedy and Remedy Ultra.
Benny Martinez works with ranchers and landowners in Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Texas. Here, the threat posed to grass production by mesquite is clear.
It's a problem because it's really built for this type of environment. It can withstand droughts. It can withstand just seasonal rain opportunities. It's a very opportunistic plant. It's a plant that is highly competitive, utilizes moisture very extensively throughout a long period of time during the growing season. So competitive-wise, it's highly competitive against forages.
Mesquite creates lots of problems with canopy cover and not letting grass grow. So it's just a constant battle of trying to get rid of it. It's important to control the brush just to create more grazing, more open area for cattle and wildlife itself too.
Callahan Ranch stretches across 90,000 acres in South Texas brush country. They graze a cow-calf herd and lease a significant portion of their land for hunting. And they have a never-ending fight against mesquite.
We usually shred back years ago. And here in recent years, we've been using herbicide more just because it's something you can come in here and spray once and forget about it for a little while. While if you're mechanical, you got to come back and shred every year, and it hurts the pocketbook. And some of our big pastures, we've been spraying aerial spraying, and we've been spraying strips across the whole pasture. So the strip is 350 foot wide, and we'll skip 700 foot and then do another 350 foot wide strip. Basically, this creates, you still leave some of your habitat for deer, some grazing for cattle, and create that edge in between strips.
Those large strips of mesquite have been sprayed from the air with Sendero herbicide from Corteva.
Sendero tends to be much more selective, and that's really important for producers in the Southwest. We're often in a place where we have to manage for not only cattle but for wildlife as well. The wildlife component is a significant revenue source for South Texas ranchers. And because it is a significant revenue source, we have to be mindful of those secondary species that are very important to wildlife. Sendero gives you the flexibility to be very targeted when it comes to treating mesquite. It will selectively target mesquite, but it's fairly safe on some of those other desirable species that are really, really important from a wildlife perspective.
The Callahan Ranch team also uses IPT or individual plant treatments in areas where mesquite stands are less dense or to maintain areas after an aerial application. The result has been a solid kill on targeted plants and a significant increase in their grass production.
The economics today are really, really good when it comes to trying to implement a brush control program, especially as you consider what it costs to replace that land. Target that brush before it becomes a significant problem.
One of the game changers in the fight to control mesquite has been a powerful tool from Corteva called LandVisor Advanced Brush Management.
LandVisor offers a solution that helps address targeting brush in a more systematic approach. It allows us to look at the landscape in a different way that we've never been able to look at the landscape. And it also allows us to be very targeted in terms of the application timing that really result in better performance of the herbicide treatment.
I came across LandVisor, actually Benny Martinez brought it up to our attention, and I really liked the program itself. I mean, it was a great program. Looking at it, kind of helps you target the spots more density, where mesquite's more dense.
LandVisor uses mapping, data points, digital technology, and remote sensing to provide insights that help ranchers and land managers customize their approach to targeting plants and spraying brush.
It gives what we call actionable insights that allow the producer to see various maps to show them where mesquite density exists on their pasture. It also has the opportunity to overlay different layers, so you can see your soil types and your mesquite density overlaid to get a really good feel for where it might be most appropriate to implement a strategy to control brush in an existing area to get a better return on investment.
In Texas, I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
It's never too soon to evaluate your grazing plans and work towards increased forage production. If you'd like more information about LandVisor and how it can help you make better, more profitable decisions, just visit the website landvisor.com and request a demo. Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll dig deeper into the dollars and cents of why producers should invest in their pastures and their rangeland. Stay with us.
Cattle producers across the country work hard to care for their animals and their land. The USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service is there to help. Find out how you can work with NRCS to develop a conservation plan for your operation. Find possible funding resources for implementing conservation practices, or get free expert advice on ways to improve your farm or ranch. Visit the website nrcs.usda.gov today.
CattleCon's headed to San Antonio, February 4th through 6th, 2025, where farmers and ranchers gather to shape our industry's future. Remember, if you ain't at the table, you might just be on the menu. Check out the latest in ranching at the Texas-sized NCBA trade show. Network, learn, and grow your operation. Don't miss this chance to steer the cattle biz in San Antonio, where the Alamo spirit lives on. Visit convention.ncba.org to get registered. CattleCon 2025, where the beef industry meets.
Sound pasture management is just as important as a good vaccine protocol or a feed and mineral program, yet it often gets less of our attention. Here's a look at how quality grazing influences health and productivity in ways both obvious and subtle.
Sustainability is more than a goal, it's a lifestyle at Carter Cattle Company. Veterinarians Will and Monty Carroll Carter are continuing a tradition that was started by their family around a century ago in this part of South Central Alabama.
We've been here for several generations. I'm 6, my kids are 7. Family settled here in the late 1800s and been running cows most of that time. We love what we do. We love the cattle business and we love caring for land.
Around 250 miles to the north, in south central Tennessee, is Deer Valley Farm. Jonathan Perry is the longtime general manager of this well-known registered Angus seed stock operation.
We are in the genetics business, basically. We raise commercial bulls and registered females to sell across the country. We run about 2,000 head of registered Angus cattle on the place and have been very fortunate to build what we believe is one of the strongest Angus cow families and cattle operations in the country.
Grazing is an integral part of these operations. Both understand the important role of good grass to the long-term success of their businesses and are willing to put in the time and effort to properly manage this valuable resource.
Our cow herd pretty much lives year-round on forages that we can grow and produce and raise here on the farm. Our forage program is extremely important to us. To be able to manage 2,000 head yearly on bought feed products is not feasible at all. So we have to do a very good job of taking care of the forages and the land. So everything we do from a forage standpoint is intended to make the ground more productive, to make it work for us, to create some sustainability in what we do every day and the land that basically supports us.
We're really managers of grass. We're in the grass business. We use cows to harvest it, but our focus is mostly on the grass, really. So in order to manage our grasses better, we've installed a lot of electric fence and also a lot of pipeline and water troughs so that they have access to water and so that we can rotate those cattle as needed. That allows us to better manage grasses because we can give them the rest they need and we can get them grazed at the period where they're highest in nutrition at different times of the year.
As the demands on forage increase, not only does grazing have to be properly managed, but weed and brush control is critical as well.
We also do a fair amount of weed control when needed. We use several products in the right time of the year to keep that pasture clean and to keep the grass thick, and that prevents future weeds.
When the grass is managed right, when the weeds are controlled, we have a better grass mat, we have less erosion, things work better. It's much more sustainable, and basically the ground works as God intended it to.
While toxic weeds in a pasture certainly can affect herd health, the bigger role of pasture is how quantity and quality of grass impacts cow body condition. Specifically, body condition affects breedback, milk production, daily gains, and the immune system of both cow and calf.
If the cow's not in great body condition, she's not cycling, she's not going to get pregnant. We expect 85% to have calved in the first 45 days of calving season. We're selling pounds of beef. That's what it comes down to, and so the easiest way to do that is age of calf. And so if we can get more calves at the very beginning of the calving season and keep them there, it's just much more profitable for us in the long run. And if she's not in good body condition, she's not putting a lot of protein and antibodies in that colostrum, which sets us up for weak calves. And weak calves are susceptible for sickness, they grow less, and they've proven to have health problems their entire lives. You're trying to catch up at that point, and it's very expensive to try and catch up, and you will never be, at least for us, you will never be as successful as if you'd just done a little preventative maintenance and kept the cow in better body condition going in.
Proper pasture management has as much to do with health in the cattle as anything we do. Obviously, if an animal's rumen is working right, if their body's physiologically doing what it's supposed to do, they're healthier, they take care of their cells much better, their immune systems work much better. And as long as we manage those forages, it's a huge aid in helping us manage the cattle throughout the year.
With more than 70 years of range and pasture improvement products and services, Corteva Agriscience is the industry-leading provider of weed and brush management solutions.
Corteva products are imperative for what we do to manage the forage. Obviously, good, healthy pasture is a key to our success, and without them, we would absolutely be in a problematic situation.
We have been very pleased over the years with Corteva products. They always seem to be very innovative, and they're always coming up with something better and new to fix a problem that we have, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate the investment they make into this industry.
Emphasizing good grazing and healthy pastures can provide you with an abundant, high-quality forage base. This helps cows more efficiently meet their own nutritional needs and that of their calves.
A good forage program not only gives us the gains that we need, but it ensures that the cattle are healthy, that things work right inside the cow's body, and we can get her bred back, and we can keep her nursing calves and do the things that she's meant to do.
I'm a veterinarian, and I can tell you, just from a business standpoint, when all you're doing is treating pneumonia, pulling calves, treating sick calves, that's not profit. The preventative is way more profitable. And so whether that's a solid vaccine program, a solid nutrition program, they all work hand in hand, and they're gonna set you up for success. And for us, a strong forage base is the base of everything else. Everything else feeds into that.
I'm Brad Bullitt reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
For more information on how high-quality grazing can influence the health of your cattle and their productivity, a great resource is the website rangeandpasture.com. We'll be back to wrap up our show right after this. Stay with us.
Our aspect is taking care of everything as far as the cattle goes. These cattle are ours until they leave.
I like Grazing KP. It seems like they come around a lot faster. They're back on feed. Even Don and I have noticed, so we've doctored one, and the next day he's a lot better. With the price of the commodities nowadays, you want them on feed, you don't want them to fall behind.
Join the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. NCBA is the oldest and largest national cattle industry organization working to defend your interests in Washington, D.C. And there are big benefits to being a member. You'll get news you can use in the National Cattlemen, email updates in the NCBA Beef Bulletin, plus big discounts only for NCBA members. Join by calling 866-233-3872 or online at ncba.org.
Welcome back. Now, no matter where you raise cattle, good forage plays a crucial role in the health, productivity, and overall profitability of your operation. If you want the latest pasture management advice delivered right to your inbox, as well as valuable information on Corteva tools and products to help control weeds and brush, you can sign up at the website keepsteward.com/C2C. Don't forget, CattleCon 25 will be here before you know it. This annual cattle industry event runs from February 4th through the 6th in San Antonio, Texas. Registration is now open at the website convention.ncba.org. Well, that wraps up this edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll see you again next week right here on RFD TV.